Hello, everyone. I'm Anthony Gallegos, and I'm here with my friend Mitch Dyer.
Oh, we are friends again. That's good. I was worried.
And we are, I guess, what you can consider this the Defiance review in progress.
Yeah.
You know, we do it a lot of times as a written thing on IGN. This time we're trying it with some video impressions.
Yeah.
The Defiance Day 1 impressions, mixed response from the community.
People were not happy with our negativity.
And it wasn't even, I didn't even feel that I was, like, overtly negative.
No, we were just really lukewarm because we were early. We didn't really know what to say. I had not played it yet. I was observing you.
I had only played for a few hours at that point. I
Yeah.
said that several times. It was day one, right? And what was I doing? I was still learning like what the game expects of me, what it wants from me. And I was doing the story missions, and I was like, the story missions are really cool, but years of playing World of Warcraft have taught me if you see an exclamation point, you do the damn quest.
Yeah.
And so a lot of these side missions I still will hold till the day I die. They are not.
They're boring.
They're boring. They're not very well
totally
designed. They're literally walk up and hold E on something.
Yep. And so people know we've played more. I've played more. You and I played a bunch last night. I've played some Defiance. You played a bit more. You're higher level
202 now, you know, and I have a better understanding of the game systems.
Yeah.
And for people that are wondering, you know, like to understand the game systems, you really do need to go into the intel and just look at the help stuff about the general world. And I had to do a lot of reading just to kind of understand.
This is all buried behind that like garbage radio menu that like they don't tell you how to access.
Sure, and I feel like there are a lot, you know, like people were saying like original vanilla World of Warcraft kind of obscured a lot of game details from you as well.
That was 8 years ago.
And that's true, exactly. It was 8 years ago, and I feel like there are certain things that, like, at this point, I'm not 100% positive if I have a stash of some sort, if there's, like, a town hub.
A bank or whatever.
These are questions I've all emailed, like, things that I've come to expect. If there's, like, a crafting system of sorts, there is the mod system where you can mod items.
Yeah.
Like, right now I have an assault rifle that's being modded, but I still haven't seen something where it's like, you know, there's no like crafting where I'm like, oh, I'm going to actually
put these pieces together to make a gun.
Yeah. So just things that, you know, maybe you kind of expect when you've played a lot of MMOs. But I'm going to go jump into a story mission.
Okay.
Me and Mitch did a little bit of co-op last night. We had some good times driving around.
Yeah, we played some of the episode missions. We got to see the characters from the show. We got to do some missions that were a little more interesting than your usual side quests. Granted, they still did essentially boil down to go here, hold E on the thing, watch a cutscene happen.
But I felt like a lot of the battles in those show missions were a lot more interesting because the enemies, there was like usually a lot more of them to where we were actually having to like think about how to fight off a swarm of guys.
Yeah, like there was that big flamethrower dude or the rocket shooting guy in that instance we had in the cave where you had to get behind him and pop the 2 canisters on his back. And otherwise you could not do damage. So you really had to tactically think about it.
I feel like there's also just even having that little bit of a narrative conceit, like where it's introducing like we're on the hunt for Jim and this is like a heist thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that does make it more exciting than if I walk up to this, for instance.
And it's like, oh, blue ball, tell me to go press E on a generator.
And you get this, right? Like this gets repeated. This dialogue gets repeated constantly, but it's like that is not interesting.
No.
Even just having that little bit of cutscene introduction makes it way cooler, and the story missions have that a lot.
Yeah, it's the difference between...
It's like Star Wars: The Old Republic, right?
Exactly.
Why did we like
exactly
to play
where I was going.
We wanted to play it because it had those cool, like, cinematic
it had little story
intros.
vignettes.
And I will admit, traveling around with people is fun. And, you know, honestly, the best I have with, like, random quests is when they're the type of quests where it dynamically lets other people who just happen to be there join you and help you with it.
I really like that, especially with the Arcfall stuff. Like, you'd find a big thing that had crashed from space, and you and I found a group of other dudes, and we're all just defending this Arcfall thing to collect some sweet loot, and that was weird.
Yeah. There are definitely visual quirks like that in this so far. But yeah, like earlier, me and this person named Deja Vu, we did this quest together, and it ended up being like this really cool story quest where we had to hold out and defend these. I mean, a lot of the quests boil down to like defend a person.
Yeah.
But we had to defend them, and it was a really intense fight. We got through it, and at the very end, she invited me to a guild, so I'm in a guild now.
Oh, finally.
We're called the Road Warriors.
I love that. Wait, so you joined a guild, now you can't, now we can't make a guild.
I can drop out of the guild anytime I wanted. I just
Thank
figured
God.
for the
Banana Riders need to ride again.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the Crater, my favorite bar, and Nolan's too.
But yeah, it's disappointing to me that like little parts like this that give the world personality, they're kind of few and far between.
Yeah, everything else just looks like generic rolling hills, right? And it doesn't really particularly look like the Bay Area.
Well, I mean, northern part of Marin, if you can imagine it, destroyed and stuff.
Yeah, I guess.
You know, Marin is pretty hilly and grassy.
Yeah.
Let's do a story mission.
Get a blast rifle out of the deal.
Please don't waste my time with your nonsense. what my foreman
This is
told
a couple
you
story
isn't
missions
true.
ahead of where you and I left.
Okay.
Don't have the
Which was
matrix.
only like we did what,
If
3 or
you
4?
finish the arrangement we already have, then
We did a little
Oh,
bit more.
lawman, what's up?
Whoa. The raiders who attacked my ranch were hired by someone. Someone who's after Von Bach's Arc Core.
So, you know, the
be
narrative conceit of the
stupid enough
game
to be that
slowly has
someone,
developed over time.
absolutely not, Lawkeeper.
Yeah, it's a bit of a slow build.
You and I may
It
not
is,
see
and like
eye
we
to
said
eye,
before,
but
there
I'd
there
never
is a
cross you.
there is a lot of
That.
assumed knowledge about the world and stuff.
There is,
And now that
yeah.
we've seen the first episode of the show, a lot more of the
Yeah,
world
that-
makes sense to us.
it
and
really
we
did
can't
help.
talk about it.
Yeah, but
I assume
just
someone
know that
into
if
this
you are
mystery
interested in
third
Defiance and you're playing
party was
Defiance and
never
you're a little
your
confused,
intention, right?
the first episode of the show will provide a lot of context. You
Because
will
the
learn more
first
about the
episode of the
characters.
show explains, like, really dives into the idea of how the aliens ended up on Earth.
Yeah, yeah.
How all this kind of became to be. And the game kind of is just like,
Here
that-
you
that
are,
kinda
have
happens.
fun.
Dudes
Yeah.
play
Yeah.
some weight there. Me and your friend are gonna collect that matrix.
so yeah, I mean, there are two products that go together, but they should also stand on their own.
Yeah.
And I feel like the show
change
stands a
your
lot
pants
more
for
on
it.
its own than
Totally
the game
agree.
does.
Yeah, it's not reliant on the game as much as the game is on the show. The game, it's definitely, they're both definitely separate entities, right? Because one is in San Francisco, the other is in St. Louis,
Right.
and you have a different cast and different setting. And
Although, I mean, obviously Nolan and Orisa from
They cross over a
the
little
game,
bit.
they do make regular appearances. Like the mission I just did for them very much, I think, led into where they would appear in the pilot.
okay,
So
that makes sense. And going forward, it's going to be really interesting to see how the episodes, the episode missions in the Defiance game relate to what's going on in the show.
right, like afterwards, because at that point, you know, that Nolan and Orisa are
They're
in
gone.
very different point. They're in a totally different part of the country.
Yeah.
One thing I did think that was kind of worth pointing out is when you and I did the grouping, it was a little annoying finding each other.
Yes.
Like we had to constantly, like when you have that, you can hit the button and you can find your person in the group. But we would often be in like different instances,
Yeah, that was irritating.
and then we would have to do, like a different instance, and kind of, we would have to like switch instances all the time, you know.
Yeah,
and
that was
to
really
find each
irritating.
other.
You kept vanishing from my world, or I kept vanishing from yours. It wasn't really clear why we were getting separated, and it was kind of irritating.
Yeah, and then not only that, but I would have to keep teleporting to you, and then sometimes we would all of a sudden, you would instance away from me. There was no way like that we could find easily for us to like share a quest, even though we would both be on the quest. We couldn't just be like, now we're both on it, showing the objective
Yeah,
for
yeah,
both
yeah.
of us. We're getting the credit together.
It's a lot of little inconveniences.
Yeah, I mean,
They're not total deal breakers, obviously.
no.
but
It's just one of those things that like I've played enough other MMOs that I'm like, why isn't this there,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
I haven't seen a single miner since I got here.
But I do appreciate the missions like this, where it's like voiced over. It has voiceover. You know,
Something's wrong.
it has like an
Let's get in
introduction to
there.
the level that's
Yeah, it's-
actually much more engaging than read a bubble of
Yeah,
text.
it is really trying hard to flesh out its characters and its world and make something of itself separate from the show.
Yeah.
I just kind of there are times where it's not as clear as it should be. You don't get the necessary information about the world as a whole. Like you get the granular stuff about the moment to moment about what you're doing and who you're doing it for, but the context of the world isn't necessarily as fleshed out as it should be, and it's probably buried in that menu that you showed earlier.
Yeah, you should definitely do those episode missions, by the way, because I got a really awesome gun for finishing it.
Yeah, that's how I already have like amazing weapons because of those.
Yeah, and I'm still trying to figure out the leveling system, in the sense that I believe basically the way it is that like enemies from the very beginning of the game, they're still difficult for me to fight. So
Yeah, I don't-
basically it's not like a traditional game where you out-level, like you can go head back to the starting area and
Right.
just murder everything. It's more like you're building up your ego in the sense that you're
Just to
getting
get
all
more
these
skills.
perks. Your perks. You have one active power and then perks.
Right, I feel like
Kinda
the
matter.
guns themselves, over time, like maybe long term when you have more damage for your weapons, it's more significant. But as it stands, I mean, the weapons you and I have aren't that different. A headshot essentially is always a headshot for me. We still struggled against those dudes, the dudes with the shields,
Yeah.
using basic weaponry that we had, even though you're like 150 levels higher than me.
Yeah, well, 150 ego points.
Yeah, I don't really know how that
Really,
leveling system
you don't
works.
even get like a point to get a new ego power except for every 10 ego points.
Okay, is that how that works?
Yeah,
Again, something that should probably be explained a little
or
clearer.
ego power levels. Yeah, it doesn't necessarily do the best job with that. But, you know, I know that there are a lot of MMO players, especially PC people, who understand that a game like this isn't going to necessarily hold your hand the entire time. But I do feel like that makes it a bit more intimidating for new people.
Yeah.
And even for me, who's played a lot of MMOs, there's just established systems that are in place so much that when it's different, I'm like, well, why is it different? And I'm trying to figure out, like,
Yeah.
what exactly it's trying to do, I guess, how that system actually works in a way that I can understand.
Something that I want to point out, and I know that people are really tired of hearing us hate on this game, and
well,
I don't want to
I don't
sound
think
like we
we're
are being
hating on
negative,
it.
because
Yeah.
we are enjoying it. We do like it a lot more than
we
we
had
did
fun
last
last
time.
night. Yeah,
we had a lot of fun, and I'm really excited to go back and play again with you. We're going to spend a lot of time this week playing it. I'm looking forward to that. However, something that sticks out to me as a missed opportunity is that you and I are both playing as Arathians. We're both playing as aliens, and the world doesn't seem to react to us in any kind of different way than it would if we were human. And to that end, same thing with male and female. It doesn't seem to matter if you're a dude or if you're a lady, or if you're a human or if you're an Arathian. It doesn't really matter.
Sure, and that's kind of an interesting point to put out there, only because in the show there are very clearly some racial and gender tension.
There's a lot of tension, yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, yeah, because Arathians, they're not necessarily considered subhuman, but they're definitely people that seem to mistrust them or have certain conceptions of them. And it's also interesting that, like when we first started playing, right, we were a little confused about, are Votans, are they just the Arathians? And no, Votans are like 7 species.
Yeah, Votan seems to be I assume that was the planet that they fled.
Right, it was like they all, just like we would be called Earthlings or something.
Yeah. Like if we brought a dog, it would still be an Earthling.
Right, so, yeah, the Votans, I've actually seen more species at this point. That guy Varys we saw was a different species. I've seen one of the very vampire-looking,
the white-haired dudes.
Yeah, and I've also seen, at this point, I've seen one of the Chewbacca-looking sort of.
Those dudes are awesome.
I
love them.
They took Smets upstairs.
Look at these fat miners.
I know, a.k.a. Mitch.
Yeah, yes.
Up top.
That's me in the post-apocalypse. I'm not a lawman. I'm not a bounty hunter. I'm not a survivalist. Dude, I'm a fat.
I almost feel like in some way, Mitch, they shouldn't even have an ammo system in this game.
Right, like why?
Because they drop ammo so much. There's ammo things all around that anytime I run out, it catches me off guard, and I'm like, oh, well, that's
it's
just
inconvenient stuff to go like turn around and find.
Exactly. I mean, I understand like the point of having a clip because the reload thing actually plays into the way that I think about fighting.
Well, it also affects certain skills. Like if you do a full reload, like if you shoot your clip dry, certain skills on my tree, I chose the decoy skill,
right?
Whereas you chose the power skill. If I reload on a full, or if I reload a whole clip, I get extra damage when it reloads, I think, and I get extra defense.
Yeah, I mean, I also have a perk now that I get faster reload. I think when my shields are down. So.
Oh wow. And those are really smart variables. I like the way that it's definitely risk reward stuff, right? Like you accept this reward under the pretext that you're gonna get that you are losing a battle.
Yeah. I like this gun I have, which was from a episode mission, because it has such a fast reload.
The gun I have right now is it's a cold fire rifle.
Uh-huh.
And it shoots. It feels like a P90 because it just empties the clips so fast and it's super accurate. Yeah, cross-check that guy like you're a hockey player. But the reload on it is not as fast as yours.
Not the most accurate from here.
Also, the AI not the greatest.
Yeah, it can be. I think that's why when you're only fighting like 1 or 2, the fights aren't necessarily the most exciting. But when there's enough of them that they can really swarm you and start to kind of become overwhelming, and you're having to like crouch behind things, roll. That's when the combat actually becomes kind of fun.
Or anytime you run into a dude with a cleaver. I hate them.
Oh, yeah, the cleaver guys. Yeah, although at this point I'm kind of away from them. That's the other thing that was driving me crazy. It was like all day one, it was all the same enemies. At this point I've encountered a better variety of enemies.
That said, is this the same camp we were at last night? It looks really familiar.
It looks familiar, but I don't think it is.
Okay, so it's just a mining camp.
Yeah, I mean, this whole area is like a mining area, so there are quite a few mining camps.
Yeah.
For you. They said Basha gave him a key to the office.
This guy's also a lawmaker.
Safe code.
Or a lawkeeper.
Lawkeeper, keeping the law.
The safe. They got whatever was in there. I'm hurting here, Coop.
I like his hat. I want it. And his Bluetooth headset.
I didn't even realize he had a Bluetooth headset. It's good to know that in the future we'll still be making stupid decisions with the way we look. No one looks cool in a Bluetooth headset. Unless you're a taxi driver, you shouldn't have a Bluetooth headset.
Yep.
Just throwing that out there. Oh, wow.
That was dark.
Hey, Cooper, why don't you get out here? We can have a nice little talk.
The lack of enemy variety for each archetype unit, or for each unit archetype.
Hold on.
Don't stop shooting until we've killed every single one of these rap motherfuckers.
Hardcore. Hardcore. He's
Okay.
mad. It's unfortunate that for the unit archetypes, there's not even a single variant of how they look.
Oh, nice. Melee super weapon.
Oh my god, you have fisticuffs.
Knock enemies back by pounding the ground.
The pulverizer, of course.
These miners say they got a defense grid they can get up and running. Cover them
Of
while
course.
they power up the turrets.
This is one thing that drives me crazy about this game, though, right? Is it's a constant sort of like they repeat things so much. It's either
We protected this guy last night in a totally different quest.
disable the turrets by holding, by walking up and hitting E, or then finally,
Yeah, what's up?
or run up and just defend this guy. Like, I don't know.
Mission variety is sorely lacking.
Yeah.
And for the most part, it's kind of inconsequential because the real lure here is loot and experience points and grinding and MMO stuff.
Though I
But
will,
it's just really a shame that they don't do more.
sure. Although I will say, Mitch, one thing that has kind of bothered me a little bit is that I don't feel like they give meaningful loot out that often.
No,
Like,
I mean, I'm way earlier than you, and I totally disagree.
Like, I just feel like a lot of the stuff, he's going to fall in a second. A lot of the stuff that guys constantly drop is just like, ammo, money. And then they occasionally drop a gun. But
See, I feel like that makes me cherish the loot drops that much more. It makes me wonder, like, it's not like Borderlands where I'm getting just garbage all the time, where I'm just like, oh, this gun that I'm going to sell, whatever. When I see a gun, I know it's going to be at least comparable to what I have.
Sure. I guess that's a fair point.
It makes me appreciate the loot that I do get.
See, this is why I brought Mitch on, because there are things that drive me crazy sometimes, and then I like to talk about it with someone else to get a different sort of
We keep each other grounded.
perspective on it.
What the hell was that? Like a
What,
rocket truck?
a guy? No, it's just a guy
Oh,
standing
okay.
by a truck with a rocket launcher.
Man,
There's
I'm
no
really
rocket
excited
truck.
by rocket trucks.
But yeah,
Set is up. One more to go.
I
I'm moving out.
again, it's not like I hate the loot system or anything. I just feel like I don't get it. I don't get a piece of loot that I'm like, oh man, that's awesome.
Sure.
Very often.
Okay.
But I do agree with what you're saying that on the flip side, that makes the loot that you find much more valuable when you get something. I just find that a lot of times I get like a grenade, and the grenade's totally like nothing I want anyways because it's not that great.
Yeah, the grenades and the shields I've noticed are a little lacking, but every time I see a gun, I get really excited.
Oh man.
I like this pulverizer a lot.
Yeah, it's nice to play a mission where you're basically just incredibly overpowered.
You're super OP.
Yeah.
And it's a new weapon. I don't know if you're going to get to keep this.
I've only ever used this one other time, and it was.
Oh, so they are recycling this thing, too.
Oh, whoops. Yeah, it was in the first co-op mission, which is kind of like their dungeons.
Yeah.
So I've done one of those at this point now too.
Where are these dudes going?
I don't know. They're gonna get pulverized though.
Pulverize! Yeah. So many dudes with shields. So this isn't like a weapon that they're going to let you keep.
Oh no! Like you can see, it has a finite percentage on it,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's not gonna be reloadable. Would be my guess.
So it is like a special thing that you just find.
yeah,
Okay.
very much so.
It's nice to have a
I
breather
think
from
it's-
just the
it's-
gunplay, though.
Exactly. Well, and like for this one mission, they just want you to, like, this is like the equivalent of when like you ever played Red Faction Guerrilla, and they'd give you like a mech mission, and
Yeah,
they're just like
yeah,
wreak
yeah.
havoc.
I just did that with my sledgehammer. God, I miss Red Faction.
Got the turrets running.
I wanna replay Guerrilla now.
Wish they were never born.
All right, I think I did it.
The turrets are live.
Good
We
job.
gotta get the hell out of here.
Yeah,
See, and I like
scram.
these story missions because they're a lot longer too. Like this is like a multi-part mission.
Yeah, it's not just run in, hitty, bail. You are involved in whatever's going on. Yeah! Get some!
That's all of them. I'm gonna find Basha. I'm getting answers one way or another.
Yeah. Madeira.
Madeira.
Let's see. So
Check
like,
that blast rifle out.
let's see how this.
Hey, you have the same sniper rifle I do.
So like this blast rifle.
Eh.
See, it's a extremely high rate of fire. Really, like a little bit higher, but the damage compared to like the one I have is
Yeah, it's trash.
garbage. Everything else is not so great. I mean, I just find that I don't get items that often. Like, and I think the reason they don't give out guns maybe as fast as something like Borderlands, right, is because stores are not as common. A. B, I only have 20 inventory slots.
Mm-hmm.
And the other part is I don't have a stash at this point as far as I can tell. So it's like they don't want to, like, I mean,
Yeah.
and I think you're right. They probably do want them to be a little bit more precious, but it's crazy. Like, even my starting gun is still really great. Like, I still
Is
have.
that really what you started with?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I will say that I kind of feel like the game. I'm still not quite sure how I feel about the fact that there aren't really like classes necessarily, right? We just kind of pick like a background story. And
yeah, I don't really get that, right?
Because
you picked what? The assault guy, the veteran.
I picked. Yes, I picked. Oh no, I picked the machinist. Sorry.
Okay.
The machinist, and then
I picked the sniper, whatever the sniper.
A survivalist.
Survivalist.
But even then, you could have taken this power
Yeah,
as
exactly.
the survivalist. I imagine you took the cloak, right? Or
Yeah.
no, you took the decoy.
Yes, I took the decoy, and then
Right.
it just started me with a sniper rifle instead
But it's
of a
funny
machine
because
gun.
the cloak is more the sniper one. Because if you come down here, is where you'll find
Yeah, I'm working my way down toward that now.
hunter's stance. You deal more damage when crouched.
See, the way I took it is I have the decoy, which I send out, and then everyone hits that, and then I just pick them off one by one.
Yeah, totally. I mean, and I felt like mine was exactly what I wanted, right? The machinist starts with a heavy machine gun, and it totally made sense that like he would have like this crazy assault power and all these other very aggressive powers.
Yes.
I just still feel like it's weird to play an MMO. I'm still not sure how I feel about it where there aren't like classes, because it kind of makes me feel like, well, why would I ever reroll another character?
Right. I can just get a machine gun with my sniper, and then I'm fine.
Exactly. Or is it just so that I can go down a different skill tree? Because you
Yeah.
can also.
But even then, you don't need to.
Well, I could also just respec and start.
Oh, wow.
And start over, right?
Okay.
So. I am curious if the respec actually. I'm gonna do it real quick.
Okay.
I have the money. Okay, yeah. So I can literally at this point just decide that I want to equip sniper rifles and just start over, right?
You
So-
should do it.
No, I'm gonna stick with what I like.
Are you really gonna just spend $2,000 on nothing?
I have a ton of script at the moment, which is the money. By the way, for people that don't know.
Get more skills this time. Just branch out more.
Well,
Don't double down on.
I'm going to
things you
get the one.
unlock.
Yeah, exactly. There were some that I got that I shouldn't have got.
Okay.
So I'm going to just buy some of the ones that I like. That one I bought only because I wanted to get to this.
How do you feel about this skill tree? Because I feel like I enjoy unlocking stuff, but in the heat of the moment, I don't actually think like, oh, I have this skill. This is saving me.
Yeah. My active power is more like I'm fighting a really hard boss or something is when I think to activate it.
Yeah.
Most of the time I just rely on shooting skills, right? Like just from playing
Yeah.
a lot of shooters. So then I wanted this one.
But a lot of the passive stuff doesn't really seem to be that on my mind. Like, I don't think that, oh, when I'm reviving Anthony, I'm getting 3 seconds of invulnerability.
Right. Submit. There we go. I'm curious now. A respec will cost. No, still
Same
not.
thing.
Yeah, that's good. Well, because you know, like a lot of games will
It's a-
often
yeah,
will
every time
often
you do
make
it, it's
it
more.
increasingly expensive.
Yeah.
So let's I just want to see what perks I have. Why is this not?
Because when you respect it, took them all away. I actually don't really understand how this works.
What do you mean?
Like equipping
There we
those
go.
perks, I don't really know how that works. Are there certain things that are equipable, or are they all equipable?
They're all equipable.
Okay, because I have 3 empty slots, but I've unlocked all those things. Am I just not using them?
Yeah, so you're not using the ones unless you equip, but eventually
okay.
you'll get more perk slots, so you can have a lot
All
more.
right, so that makes sense.
That's kinda
that's
what-
why I'm not seeing the effects of what I'm
and
doing.
that's kind of why the ego levels matter over time, right? As you reach new thresholds, you'll get additional perks, and you'll be able to do that. So, yeah, I still have yet to try competitive. I'm gonna do more of that this weekend.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, me and Mitch are definitely enjoying it a lot more than I was. You know, I think that initial first day was just kind of.
Just feeling it out.
I was feeling it out, and it also was because, like, a lot of, like I said, these side missions are kind of boring. Like,
Yeah.
these ones that are, like, timed races and where it's just, like, you get a gun, you have to kill a bunch of guys. They're okay distractions, but...
Sure. They're
like,
not substantial.
And I was doing all of them because I'm so used to, like, well, there's an objective here. I should do all the content.
Yeah.
And I feel like maybe if I start skipping some of those, I'll be enjoying it a lot more because the story missions and the episode missions are really where I think
Yeah,
the
they're
fun is
great.
at.
I'm really liking
So,
it. It doesn't leave a strong first impression. That's definitely for sure.
yeah. But I think it's one of those things that grows on us. We're going to be playing more Defiance as time goes on. The review is coming. You know, I got to get higher level. I got to reach the end game content. I got to do PvP. But we'll do more impressions along the way. So, you know, if you see me on, my name's Chuff. We can, I don't know, do some group quests or something together.
Come join our guild when Anthony is able to create it.
Yeah. And so for a lot more on Defiance in the coming days, you can go to IGN.